I have a Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. How many of us here have had to do some public speaking in our lives? And how many of us want to be better speakers? Fantastic. I know we're here to be better speakers. We could be anywhere right now. We could be with our families, we could be at work, we could be earning money. However, we're here to be better speakers. And my journey started at a conference, entrepreneurship conference. And I saw Myron Golden speak on stage, and I was mesmerized that he was able to speak on stage for 90 minutes and was able to earn money from that. As I'm sitting in the audience, I'm like, I want to be able to do this. However, there's a conundrum. The last time I had an important speech, I literally spent the 5 minutes staring at one person. So imagine trying to speak for 90 minutes, but you spend 5 minutes staring at one person, and I literally foamed at the mouth. That's something I've never seen happen. I only saw that happen in movies when they show somebody dying from a drug overdose. During that presentation, I experienced it. I was like, whoa, this is an honest. So how can I do what Myron did? And I saw in that moment something from How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie mentioned Toastmasters. At the time, I didn't care about it. I was like, I will never do this. But seeing this guy do this thing, I was like, I want to gain that skill set. Eventually, self-doubt did creep in. I was like, can I actually do that? I literally foamed at the mouth. But I decided to look for Toastmasters. And that is actually the first secret to mastering public speaking, which you guys are partaking in. It allows us to practice, to be in an environment where people want to be better at speaking. So if everybody else wants to be better, you will eventually get better. But that's not the only secret. There's actually I call it the 3 R's of mastering public speaking. It is research, rehearse, and refine. So research, we all had to research what Toastmasters was. We heard about it, we had to figure out, hey, does it fit our schedule? How do I get there? And what do I do when I'm at Toastmasters? And that's something that we do every single time we have a presentation. We always have to do some kind of research. Because there's some information that you may know, and you have to verify to see if that is actually true. Is H2O still water? You thought about this in middle school, but now you're an adult, you haven't heard about H2O, but you want to talk about H2O. Gotta make sure it's water. Then we get into rehearsal, and Toastmasters is fantastic at rehearsal. Every time we have a prepared speech, we're rehearsing. Every time we have a role, we're rehearsing. Every time we're rehearsing that habit of being around public speakers. And the last secret, which is something that is extremely useful, is refining our speech. That's why we have evaluators. That's why Jennifer Johnson is my evaluator today. That's why everybody here is my evaluator. That's why we have timers. Everything here is to help us refining our ability to speak. Fill word counters. Sometimes we don't want to hear it. However, it does help us to be better speakers. Now, although Toastmaster is fantastic, there are some core flaws that I noticed, because nothing in life is perfect. And those core flaws is just because we didn't visualize Toastmasters. The first one, which I'm unfortunately a part of, is feedback. So feedback is quite hard to read sometimes. We all have, not everybody has good handwriting, and I definitely am one of those people that does not have good handwriting. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have received feedback and weren't able to use it because you couldn't read. And I was like, if we just text it to each other or something like that, it's really easy to read the handwriting. And another flaw really is voting, because another benefit of being here is time management. However, voting is such a hard thing to do that it doesn't have to be hard. We can digitalize voting. So I was like, okay, maybe we can digitalize voting. Now, another thing too that I've noticed is when we get our speeches back, we do have feedback. However, it's kind of hard to manage the feedback and knowing which speech it's for, because occasionally on the envelope, we do write the title, and oftentimes we don't. I saw actually Robert gave me probably the best view of organization. He had a folder for that day where he kept everything up. However, I'm not very organized when it comes to my speeches. So I was like, maybe I can just digitalize it. We have files on computers. There's other ways to do this. And eventually, because I like to code, I did create a website for us to be able to actually get a feedback, to be able to vote, because voting is instantaneously, we don't have to go back and forth. And I wanted to take this opportunity to present it again. It is still it's an MVP, which means minimum viable product. It's not the best looking thing. It works at a core function what it does. It saves us a lot of time and space with files, because if we need the out counter is digitalized, we don't have to print it every single time. So I'll pass it around. You guys are able to log in. I've created an account for everybody. If you're not able to log in, you can just reset your code, reset your password. It's easy to do so. And it is a work in progress. I haven't touched it because nobody has touched it. So I want to make sure that we are using it. I do believe that it can be very beneficial, especially with managing the feedback, because it is the best way for us to refine our speeches. And if you can't read the feedback, especially from me, then you are in a sticky situation. So without further ado, I'll just pass it around. Just a QR code. You'll just go in here. It'll open up the website. You just sign in. And if you can't sign in, either reset your password or speak to me at the end of the presentation. And I'm glad for you guys to get to enjoy it. Because I love coding. I love Toastmasters. So it's a way for me to give back. Thank you.
That's great.